WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers, LA 21 12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz at Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Monday. Means we're brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. Jacob Beck and Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos, fired up. You were hanging out with us. Lots to do over the next couple of hours. Alex Bregman and Paul Skeens are headed to the AllStar Game. There's a list on The Athletic of the top 100 rivalries in college football. How many of those involve LSU? We'll talk a little bit about that. Pete Prisco named the top 100 players in the NFL. How many New Orleans Saints made that list? None. We'll talk about that in the second hour as well. So lots and lots to do. Hope your work week's off to a good start after a long holiday weekend. Ready to get things rolling the same way we do every single day with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
Well, it's a good 4th of July for the LSU football program. A little bit annoying to those of us who write stories every time LSU gets a commitment, and there's two of them that pop up right there in the mid-morning of July 4th, and we're trying to enjoy some time on the lake. But shout out Matt Moscona for getting those posted up at LouisianaSports.net. And all continues to roll forward for LSU on the recruiting trail. 2 commitments on the 4th of July. The first one I want to talk about is Bryson Culie, who LSU picked up from West Jones High School in Laurel, Mississippi. And Bryson Culie is a 4-star offensive tackle. He had offers and an interest from Alabama, from Ole Miss, from the Mississippi schools, Georgia in the mix as well. And he ended up picking LSU. And every time LSU picks up an offensive line recruit in the Brian Kelly era, the first thing I do beyond the star grades and whatnot is I go straight to the measurables. Because Brian Kelly answered a question his first day in front of the press down here in Baton Rouge. I said, look, you've got a ton of offensive linemen y'all have shipped off to the NFL. Like, what's the secret to that? And he's like, well, we have a profile recruit too. And when I heard him say that, I go, well, I got to go figure that out. And it was really easy. He picks up long, lean, athletic offensive linemen, adds weight as they go, and pushes them into the NFL. And most of them look a lot like Will Campbell did in high school, and Emory Jones did in high school, and Paul Mabanga here did in high school, and DJ Chester did in high school. Like, these guys, very rarely will you see Brian Kelly go get an offensive lineman that is 6'3", 345. Like, that's not the way that he sees offensive linemen. And certainly you're going to have change at position coaches, and he's had Brad Davis here the entire time coaching the offensive line, and you've got to work in tandem with that coach, but they appear to be on the same page. And you look at Bryson Culie, 6'6", 315. That is exactly the mold that Brian Kelly loves to look at on the offensive line. So this is a guy, I'm not here to break down the tape, to look at hand placement and leverage and all that kind of stuff. I'm not here to profile on the right side of the offensive line or the left side of the offensive line. I'm telling you, he had offers from some of the top programs in the Southeast. I'm telling you that he fits the profile that Brian Kelly really enjoys. And I'm telling you that Brian Kelly now has been here for 3 full years, and his first real offensive line just put 4 guys in the NFL draft. So this is an assembly line. This is a well-oiled machine for putting together quality offensive lines. I know it's the biggest question that we've got moving into this coming football season because all those guys moved out. But if you believe in the system that Brian Kelly has used over the last 2 decades between Notre Dame and LSU, it's been very, very effective, and it's effective because of guys that look like this and profile like this. And Bryson Culie, I think, is a big, big get for LSU. LSU picked up his commitment on the 4th of July. Second commitment was from Isaiah Washington from Haynesville. I am probably a little bit more familiar with Haynesville than many of you, the listener, are. Maybe there are some of you that are more familiar with me than me, but Haynesville up there in North Louisiana has been really a football power at the 1A level for 40 years. They've been really, really good for a long, long time. But they've been really, really good for a long, long time without necessarily churning out high-level college talents. They've just had great coaching, athletic players, and they've beat up on the smaller schools in the state of Louisiana for a very, very long time. So Isaiah Washington comes in as a guy that runs track at Haynesville. He plays safety for the football team, 6'2", 170 pounds, and is a really, really good athlete. And he was torn between, looked like kind of LSU, Arkansas, maybe Tulane, but LSU saw something in his frame and his athleticism that they were drawn to. You look at a guy that's 6'2", that's big, wide frame. You look at a guy that is athletic enough to go out there and run track, that's what you're looking for. And you figure if he's 6'2", 170 now, by the time he's 6'2", 185, 6'2", 190, you've really got an impressive looking athlete. He's not going to wow you with the offer list, but I think there are some traits that obviously the staff really likes in Isaiah Washington. So you put these two guys in this class, and I was looking at the On3 team rankings, and you look at LSU now has the highest ranked score per player. So your average player ranking is the highest in the nation for this class of 2026, that most of which will sign in December of 2025. You're looking at 5 months away from National Signing Day as we sit here today, and the numbers aren't massive for LSU. I looked up a second ago. Arkansas has 25 commitments for this class. LSU is nowhere near that at just 14. But you're going for quality over quantity right now, and I think that's a reasonable thing to do. I wouldn't say you were wrong if you went and signed 30 high schoolers. Like, that's not the wrong way to go about it. But if you did go sign 30 high schoolers, you would have to be prepared for 15 or 18 of them to transfer out in the first 2 years, right? So instead of just what you used to do, you just want to get as many folks into the boat as you possibly can. Now it's about getting the right guys in the boat, because you know that you can fix any issues or you can plug any holes that you may have when the transfer portal comes open. Now, Brian Kelly has been adamant about two different things over the last 24 months. One, he prefers to build through the high school ranks for the foundation of the program. Two, you've got to now go out there and get older. So you don't sign these high school players with the anticipation that you're going to get them right onto the field. They're not all going to be exactly like Caden Durham was. But you understand that for every Caden Durham and DJ Pickett, and I believe he's going to play early and often, you're also going to have some guys that may sit around and wait a couple of years before they truly get their chance. And you'll look at a lot of those guys on this coming offensive line who have been in the program for a year or two. And now that Will Campbell's gone and Garrett Dellinger is gone and Emory Jones is gone, now that Miles Frazier's gone and there's spots open, those guys have the chance to step in and play. That's the more traditional route to the field. They're not all Harold Perkins. So it's every situation's unique, every situation's different, but you look at what LSU is putting together right now, and you've got an average rating for this class at 92.07. That's the best in the country. For perspective, Georgia's at 90.1, Texas A&M's at 91.1, USC's at 90.8. They got the top class in the country. Notre Dame is at 91, and LSU is sitting there at 92.07. So negligible, small numbers, but the best in the country is still the best in the country in terms of your average star rating, and LSU hopes over the next 7 days that you add a couple more very big names to that class. Lamar Brown, chief among those, and we'll continue this week to kind of monitor what's going on there. But this class for LSU, 14 commitments. And it's interesting because you look at the teams in front of them, USC, 31 high school commits. Georgia, 27 high school commits. Texas A&M, 24 high school commits. Notre Dame, 25. Alabama, 19. Ohio State, 21. And then you get to LSU, whose class is ranked 7th, 14 commits. You're 7, 8, 14 short of what some of these schools already have in terms of commitments. And that would have been a situation to panic about as of 5-8 years ago. Like, oh my gosh, where are the players? But this day and age, no. Just make sure you bring in talented players. You'll see who decides to transfer out, who decides to go to the NFL after this next year, how many roster spots you got open, fill them. It's a 12-month job. I've said many, many times, it makes being a college football coach really, really hard, but it's doable if you know what you're doing. And I do believe that LSU's coaching staff, from the top down, from Brian Kelly and Austin Thomas all the way down to position coaches, they've got a plan. They know what they want to do. They know how to spend their money. They now have revenue sharing to help deal with all that. And I think the fact that they're adding very, very high-quality players, even if not in massive numbers, is still a very, very good thing for LSU. We'll talk to some of the experts, Shay Dixon, Sonny Shipp, Sam Spiegelman, whoever, over the next 4 months about like where you think that number is going to settle in. But it stands to reason probably somewhere just north of 20. So you're looking at 7 or 8 more players over the course of the next 5 months. It's a pretty doable thing, I would think. And right now you've just got a very, very high quality amount of players. You got 2 5-stars, 9 4-stars, and 3 3-stars, according to the folks at Rivals and On3. So LSU football nabs a couple of recruits over the weekend. They're off and running there. Hopefully Lamar Brown is next. We'll certainly break that down over the course of the next week. I want to talk about some baseball coming up, and we'll do some college football rivalries at the bottom of this hour coming up at 1:30. Our Monday show is brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. All your printing, scanning, copying needs, Gulf Coast Office Products can help you out with all of that. No matter what vertical market you're in, no matter what it is that you do, Gulf Coast Office Products assures you they've got clients who are in that vertical, and they understand those needs, and they can help you out with your equipment, servicing that equipment, making sure your bottom line is where it needs to be in terms of just your price point. If you don't know what you don't know, then call Trey Beal and his team. They've got someone who's got clients in your field. They'll help you out at Gulf Coast Office Products. Check them out online, gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com. We're off and running some baseball next. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
Two former LSU Tigers headed to Atlanta for the AllStar Game this coming weekend, beginning of next week. And, of course, Paul Skeens and Alex Bregman. Skeens representing the National League on the pitching staff. Alex Bregman named a reserve on the American League team yesterday. And I went to write the stories for LouisianaSports.net and kind of got lost into Bregman's baseball reference page. And it was suggested in an interview with, maybe it was Milam or Jay Johnson, and they were talking about it. Alex Bregman's a future Hall of Famer. And I dismissed that when I heard it. It's like, without looking at any stats, like, in my head, like, Alex Bregman's a good player, multi-time All-Star, Hall of Famer, that doesn't sound right. And that's the kind of the test I like to do with the Hall of Fame. Before I dive into numbers, just pure data, look, now I'm old enough where I've watched all these guys. Like, when you say his name, do I think immediately Hall of Famer? That's kind of the way I like to do it. And I'm perfectly willing to admit there are plenty of times where I will feel one way and then jump back into the stats and go, oh, I didn't realize that. And I think a little bit of that happens with Bregman. Now, we all have to have this conversation with the understanding that the Astros were busted cheating, and Alex Bregman was on the team. Now, I don't know to what degree he was involved or participated or how much it helped, and that's not really for me to adjudicate here. I don't know. All I can do is look at the numbers. I know that baseball's had a bit of a checkered past. I know that it has cost some people spots in the Hall of Fame, and who knows how that's going to affect Jose Altuve, how that's going to affect Carlos Correa, how that's going to affect Alex Bregman. Who knows? I don't know. But if we're just looking at the numbers and we kind of push that down the hall near the trash cans, if it were, and just have the conversation based on the numbers, it's interesting because Alex Bregman led the league in doubles in 2018. He led the league in walks and wins above replacement in 2019. That year, he hit 41 home runs. He had back-to-back years of over 100 RBI, 103 in 18 and 112 in 19. That two-year run between 18 and 19, Alex Bregman was a 16-win player, which I know that doesn't speak to a lot of you, but it's a massive number. And it was, considering he led the league in wins above replacement in 2019 and was in that ballpark in 2018, it could stand to reason he was among the top 5 players, if not top 2 or 3 players in Major League Baseball in wins above replacement as a 24 and 25-year-old. Now, the numbers have dipped a little bit since then, and you can use plenty of skepticism if you want to about that, because Bregman hit 31 home runs in 18 and 41 home runs in 19 and has not topped 26 since then. So that the numbers are what they are. But you look at Bregman this year in Boston, he's having a phenomenal year. He's hitting .299 at near the All-Star break. His highest batting average as a player, .296 back in 2019. That was 6 years ago. And he's still playing at an elite level. His OPS plus, which weighs you against the league average. The league average in an OPS plus is 100. And Alex Bregman right now at the All-Star break is 158. That's a huge, huge number. He has never posted an OPS plus worse than 113. He's right now a 42.5 win player. I was looking at like Tim Raines, who was kind of a controversial guy to go into the Hall of Fame. He was just about 70. Harold Baines was a really controversial pick for the Hall of Fame. That's a guy that people didn't necessarily think was a Hall of Famer when he went in. I didn't watch all of Harold Baines' career very, very closely, but if you look at his Baseball Reference and you look at his wins above replacement, he was 38.7. So Bregman right now is already beyond Harold Baines, and he's still got what we figure 5, 6, 7 years left to play. It's not out of the question. To me, it feels like he's going to be on the outside looking in. This is only his third All-Star game. He was second in the MVP voting in 2019. He does have a Gold Glove. I think he's a very good player. I think that more is going to have to come for him to be considered a Hall of Fame player. But you never know. Some guys really find a groove in their early 30s and play great, great baseball. And if he does that and continues to put up big numbers in Boston, and maybe he can get back into the playoffs, and he's been a brilliant postseason player. If he can get back into the postseason and do some things on that stage, maybe he gets there. But he's an all-star in his second home here in Boston, and that's an awesome, awesome thing for him. As far as Skeens goes, this is a different discussion. We can't really talk about the Hall of Fame with Paul Skeens. He's been in the majors for 1 full year, so that discussion is a little bit ludicrous. But it is okay for us to talk about the absurdity of his statistics to this point. He leads Major League Baseball in wins above replacement at 4.8. He leads Major League Baseball in ERA at 1.94. He leads Major League Baseball in ERA plus, which is just like the.
He's not actually first in ERA. It's Hunter Brown for the Astros.
Well, it's bolded in Wikipedia. On Baseball Reference. How am I supposed to know?
I don't know, but Hunter Brown's
they're supposed to get that right.
Hunter Brown's got a 1.82 ERA.
Well, is he in the? He's in the American League.
Astros?
Yes.
National League?
Astros, very much American League.
Oh, yeah, American League. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know if
in
you're
your
doing
childhood
MLB.
National League. Yeah, so maybe that's just the league leader. Let's see. Bold means you lead the league. Italics means you lead the major leagues.
Okay.
So Paul Skeens leads the National League.
So it's the
in ERA
italics
and
and
WAR.
the bold.
Yes,
All right.
so he leads the National League in WAR and ERA. He leads the National League in ERA plus at 220, and he's got the fewest home runs per 9 innings at just 0.4. He and Zach Wheeler are the best two guys going right now. All of that to say, as I rattle those off, leads the National League in WAR, leads the National League in ERA, leads the National League in ERA plus, leads the National League in fewest home runs allowed per 9 innings, and he's 4-7. That is just an unbelievable indictment on the Pittsburgh Pirates organization offensively and in the bullpen. The question was posed by Jason Stark, who does an incredible job covering Major League Baseball for The Athletic. He said, are we okay with voting for a Cy Young Award winner who goes hypothetically 8-16? Like, Skeens could do that. He could go 8-15. He could go 8-12. Can we give him the Cy Young if he leads the National League in all these statistics?
If he's the best pitcher, then he should win it.
It just furthers the point that wins and losses for a pitcher are just a completely useless metric to look at. Because Paul Skeens is pitching better than everyone in the National League, save maybe Zach Wheeler. And his win-loss record is 4-7, which is poor. He basically doesn't give up any runs. I want to look, if I can find his game logs, I want to look at some of these losses that he's picked up, because it's often that he's getting tagged with a loss in a, what would you term as a very, very strong outing. Like, he loses a game to Cleveland, 7 innings, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, and only 4 strikeouts in that game, so not a huge strikeout game.
He lost in June to the Astros with going 8 innings with 1 earned run and 8 strikeouts.
Yeah, he lost a game to Philadelphia, 8 innings, 3 hits, 1 run. He struck out 9 and didn't walk anybody. And he got the loss. And I've said this on the air like probably 5 or 6 times now since he got called up. Like, this fate was sealed the second they drafted him because the organization does not spend money. They do not acquire proven free agents. When players reach their ceiling, like Garrett Cole, they get traded. Like, they just don't extend people. They don't pay $100 million for players. They just don't operate like a winning organization does. So consequently, you've got last year's All-Star starter who won the Rookie of the Year, finished up in the running in Cy Young, who is one of the top 2 favorites to win the Cy Young this year, and Paul Skeens very much is, and he's got a losing record. So we'll see. Wheeler and Skeens both pitched yesterday, which stands to reason they'll pitch on similar days this week, and maybe will be available for the All-Star game. Maybe both of them end up pitching. It stands to reason they will probably pitch somewhere in the neighborhood of Friday or Saturday, which would have them theoretically available for a Tuesday night All-Star game to pitch an inning as the starter. So it seems like that the manager, like last year, there were some guys who had as good in numbers as Skeens did. Skeens had been called up late, but Chris Sale pitched on Sunday and for Atlanta, and he likely would have been the starter. And like you had guys whose arms weren't ready on Tuesday to pitch, so they could not pitch. And Skeens basically got ushered in because of that. Now he could earn this thing on his own merit, and I think both of those guys will be rested enough to start the game on Tuesday. It'll be up to the National League manager and those in charge to say who starts the game. I think at this point, Wheeler is probably pitching a touch better, like fractionally better over the last 3 weeks. He threw a shutout yesterday. But Skeens is a bigger name. And if this is a show and an exhibition, I think that throwing Skeens out there first is the likely thing to do. But we'll see. That's a decision that will be made above my head. But I think it's interesting for those 2 guys who are obviously superstars here in Baton Rouge. Is Bregman theoretically, potentially a Hall of Fame player? Yeah, he's got work to do, but he could. And Skeens is on an amazing trajectory for a disaster organization and is doing some things that statistically will just blow your mind from terms of what he does on the mound and then what the record indicates for the last place Pirates. So that's a look at some LSU Tigers in the pros. This is an interesting exercise. I want you to give some thought to it during the break, and we'll talk about it when we come back. The Athletic, top 100 rivalries in college football. How many involve LSU and which ones? Plus, there's one massive omission in my mind. We'll talk about that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is that website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Summer in full swing. If you're thinking about maybe purchasing a new vehicle before the end of the summer to get you ready for the fall, for school and all that, Genesis would love to be on your list. You're probably going to be on Airline Highway anyway if you're purchasing a vehicle. Why not just make the one more stop, Airline at Piku, and check in with the folks at Genesis of Baton Rouge? Chat with one of their brand ambassadors. Get behind the wheel, whether it's the sedan all the way up to the SUV. They've got the entry level all the way to the highest end, and all of them are IHA top safety picks. New purchases, 10 years, 100,000-mile warranty. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. Find that entire inventory online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. It's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
With bold leadership and a growing population, Louisiana is rewarding excellence, attracting high-value companies, and fueling opportunity. Louisiana is winning now, and the sky is the limit. With every region and industry growing across a beautiful state that's more than a culture, it's a community with a quality of life that's more than satisfying. It's sustainable because the Louisiana you thought you knew is better than ever now. Come home, Louisiana.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
Monday shows brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products, GCOPnet.com, GCOPnet.com. All your printing, scanning, copying needs, Gulf Coast Office Products. Pete Prisco ranked the top 100 players in the National Football League. Check in on how many Saints made that list in 30 minutes. And Manny Navarro from The Athletic, is going to join us at 2:30 to talk about his profile on Brian Kelly's roster building for these 2025 Tigers. Scott Docterman for The Athletic ranked college football's 100 best rivalries. And you understand who's at the top of this list. It's the usual suspect. Number one on the list is Ohio State and Michigan. Number two is Alabama and Auburn. Number three, Oklahoma, Texas. Then RB Navy, USC, Notre Dame. Nebraska, Oklahoma at number 6. Miami, Florida State at number 7. Ohio State, Penn State at 8. Florida, Florida State at 9. And Minnesota, Wisconsin at number 10, which caught my eye a little bit. Having that over Alabama, Tennessee was a little head-scratching, but it is what it is. LSU did not appear until number 13 on this list with the Alabama Crimson Tide. That was the rivalry The Athletic thinks is the biggest among the LSU rivalries. But there are 6 LSU rivalries in the top 100. And I'm okay with all 6, but there is an egregious omission in the top 100. And I think that if I had a chance to plead my case to Scott Docterman, he might understand where I'm coming from here. But let me go through them briefly and tell you which rivalry has been omitted. LSU-Bama is at number 13. The second one, you have to get to number 43 in the country. That is LSU and Ole Miss. Certainly, the rivalry with Ole Miss goes back a long, long time. In the 50s, it was ferocious. And still to this day is a big-time rivalry. It was the best environment in Tiger Stadium this past year when LSU and Ole Miss got together, largely thanks to Mother Nature just dumping all over the LSU-Alabama game. But still a great rivalry in college football. Number 48 is Arkansas. I would not have LSU-Arkansas as the third best rivalry among the LSU rivalries. it is a rivalry. I think it's foolish when LSU fans completely dismiss it. There was a time there where LSU, late in Les's tenure, was struggling to beat Arkansas. So I feel like it is a rivalry. I don't need the big goofy trophy. You don't have to tell me that it's completely insignificant. And like it's a game that we played at the end of the year every year for 2 decades. Like, it's a rivalry.
And we don't need to play it in War Memorial Stadium either.
No, that was awful. I went there probably 3 times. Not great. Was there for the what's the name of it? The Miracle on Markham. There it is. Yeah, I was there for that. Not fun. And then there was a Ryan Mallett game I was there for that was not fun as well. But there was one that was fun. I think that we won. I can't remember. But yeah, terrible venue. Awful venue. Doesn't need to be played there. But that was LSU and Arkansas, number 48. Number 64, LSU and Florida. Obviously, a game that was kind of forced by the league office when they went to permanent opponents. They're like, all right, well, Georgia and Auburn, you got each other. And, okay, Alabama and Tennessee, you got each other. Well, that kind of leaves LSU and Florida among the big boys. So y'all go play every year. And then Steve Spurrier went nuts. Like that was the genesis of it. But LSU's kind of owned that rivalry of late. Last year it didn't go well, but prior to that, LSU had just owned Florida for about 6 years. But a great rivalry, a lot of stories, a lot of tradition, a lot of pros. And the morning show guys will tell you it's their favorite game that they played in as an LSU tandem. Number 71, LSU and Texas A&M. Now, this is a rivalry that predates A&M joining the SEC. Of course, LSU and Texas A&M played annually early in seasons for a number of years. And when you then put the game at the end of the season, it took on some added significance. You had Les Miles being carried off the field, and you had the ridiculous 28 team that had 1 billion overtimes and the fight that ensued after that. And you look at geography, you look at brand recognition, you look at the time of year that game was played. Like, yeah, that's a rivalry. It's okay. I'm okay if you add that in. And then the last one on the list, number 100, is LSU and Mississippi State. That is LSU's longest standing rivalry. It's the team that LSU has played the most times in its football history. I wouldn't suggest it's the most storied rivalry ever. It's been very one-sided. LSU has handled business in a big way in that rivalry. In fact, let me look at the numbers on that. I know for sure because I did this at Plucker Sports Trivia like a year and a half ago. It's the team that LSU has beaten the most times. LSU is 78, 36, and 3 in the 117 meetings. So Tigers have handled Mississippi State pretty good. But if you'll notice, as I rolled through those games, LSU Auburn not on there. And I just can't live in that world. There is no world to me where LSU Arkansas or LSU Mississippi State, really LSU A&M, is a better rivalry than LSU and Auburn. When you look at all the ridiculous stories, the barn burn and the earthquake and the interception game, and even some more recently with the last play of the Les Miles era in the back of the end zone, and Leonard Fournette's ridiculous running, and then Bo Nix snapping the streak that LSU had won a bajillion in a row over 2 decades, and you're talking about the cigar game, and there's just so many storylines that drip through that old SEC West rivalry in 2 great venues with 2 classic brands and unbelievable players, Cam Newton and Joe Burrow. Like, it's just, to me, that's got to be on the list, and to have it omitted when you're talking about just LSU, Mississippi State, Arkansas, Texas A&M, not to mention the fact that we got games on here like Middle Tennessee, Western Kentucky, Richmond versus William and Mary, Williams versus Amherst, which I think was the first game ever. Talking about Mount Union versus Wisconsin Whitewater, that's the FCS level. Sorry, Maryland and Virginia does not trump LSU and Auburn. So I don't know how this was omitted. I don't know if it was discussed and then left out. I don't know if it was improperly researched, but like LSU and Auburn is certainly one of the great rivalries from the Southeastern Conference, and it has the storylines to back it up and the national championships to back it up and the Heisman trophies to back it up. I mean, to not have that game listed is just an omission in my estimation. So I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to criticize the ranking here, I need to take LSU's rivalries and list them 1 to 5 and see where I would put them. And Beck, we'll see if you agree with this, but I've got LSU, and I realize that there is a bit of recency bias that can creep in. I tried to be more objective going back 50 years instead of 10 because there coaches come and go and eras come and go. And so I tried to be respectful of the entire history of the rivalry. So I put LSU and Alabama at 1. You had the Charlie Mack and Bear Bryant years, and then you've had the Saban Miles, Saban Ogeron years. You have the national championships. You have the game of the century. Like, it's just, that's number 1 to me. LSU will never be Alabama's chief rivalry. They got Auburn and Tennessee that they're worried about over there. But for LSU, when you look at the rivalry, the story, the background of it, it's LSU and Alabama to me at number 1. I put Auburn second. Like, I think there would be plenty of folks that would suggest that my number 3 should be number 2. Auburn was just added to LSU's schedule late in the SEC relative to everything. They didn't join the schedule every year until the 90s. But you look at the history that I just went through with all those games that have names attached to them. And it's just, to me, there was a period there in my childhood where the winner of that LSU-Auburn game was going to Atlanta. Now, Saban put an end to all that, but there's too many storylines for me to dismiss that. So I put Auburn second. I put Ole Miss third. There's so much history there, but Ole Miss has never won the West. They've never been in a playoff. LSU and Ole Miss really only played for massive stakes in my lifetime the one time when Eli fell down. I'm very, very respectful of the 50s and think that means a ton. But I bump Ole Miss down one peg beyond Auburn to number 3. And then I got Florida at number 4. Florida actually was on LSU's schedule a lot early on, but Florida was a mess until Spurrier came and cleaned it up. And then Spurrier just dusted LSU for a decade before LSU got its feet under it with Saban and then started to punch back. And you look now from 2000 to now, that's a slobber knocker, and it's an incredible rivalry. It's the deal with, like, not a lot of LSU fans know a lot of Florida fans. The states are pretty separate. Like, I feel like most people in their circles have some Ole Miss folks or some Mississippi State folks. You probably know somebody that went to school there or went over to Texas A&M. I don't know anybody that went to Florida. Like, I don't know a single person. I don't have anyone in my friend group or my extended family that's a Florida Gator. So that part of it, I think, is a little bit of a drawback. But on the field with the brands, I think Florida's massive. And for number 5, I put Arkansas. I put Arkansas over Texas A&M. I put Arkansas over Mississippi State. That game carried a lot of weight at the end of the season a lot of times. And you look at that 2011 game that was massively impactful. I think that game, probably because of where it was on the schedule, created a pretty good rivalry. And I think that especially for those in North Louisiana, you know more people that have gone up to Arkansas. I did know folks that went to Arkansas. So that's the order for me. Bama 1, Auburn 2, Ole Miss 3, Florida 4, Arkansas 5. Where did I make an egregious mistake, Beck?
I don't know that there's an egregious mistake in there. I think I'd have Florida a little higher, just because. And again, like a lot of these rivalries really didn't pick up a lot until the 90s when the SEC we had the reformation of the SEC and you're playing these guys, every year. So I think Alabama is definitely number 1. And then after that, it's pretty
generational.
Even. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
If you're in your 70s and 80s, like Ole Miss.
Yeah.
If you're in your 50s and 60s, Alabama. If you're in your teens, Alabama.
Yeah.
If you're in your 30s, Auburn.
Yes.
Like that's where that generally has gone. And Florida is right there if you're in your 30s as well. The Urban Meyer, Les Miles battles after the Spurrier-Saban battles were pretty impactful, but it was a pretty condensed period of time as opposed to what you're looking at with Ole Miss and Tulane, if you want to go back that far.
Right.
But to me, and I just can't believe that they put together, it listed the top 100 rivalries and did not put LSU and Auburn on there. That seems impossible.
Well, yeah, and then and of course I understand if it's someone who doesn't really know or isn't really in the know with LSU, then they would pick Mississippi State and LSU because they've played for so long. But it's super lopsided. It's never been that interesting of a rivalry in terms of how many really good games there's been. But with LSU and Auburn, they haven't played. They probably played half as many times as that rivalry, but there's just so much more history with how many great games they play.
And I get you want to share the wealth, and you don't want to just put all the SEC teams, and you want to go ahead and give TCU and Baylor their love, and Lafayette and Lehigh their love, and you want to throw, let's see, Notre Dame, Michigan State on there, whatever. Like, I get it, but then take LSU and Mississippi State. Take LSU and Mississippi State off. Take LSU and A&M off, and put Auburn on there. It's got to be in any list of the top 100 rivalries in college football. To me, it's one of the top 25 rivalries in college football based on the storylines throughout the years. So that's just my 2 cents on it. We'll take yours in the Bayou Ford chat or on Twitter at HuntPalmer88. Our Monday show is brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. Just going to put the disclaimer out there. I'm probably going to get a little cranky in the next segment. We'll do that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website. Jonathan Carver and his team, phenomenal folks to work with on the insurance front. They are experts in the technical aspects of insurance. Sometimes you just point to the premium, and that's all you care about when you're buying your insurance. And I understand that. I buy insurance too. I pay attention to the premium. But you need to be able to trust your broker to make sure that your policy is going to respond properly. And they can promise you at the Highland Insurance Group that's their focus. You should trust your insurance broker like you trust your CPA, like you trust your attorney. It's part of your team as you're operating a business. And so when that event happens, whether it's a storm or a car accident or a lawsuit or a cyber breach, whatever the case may be, you want to make sure that that insurance policy that you paid good money for responds properly. The Highland Insurance Group, Jonathan Carver and his team, will make sure that's the case. Check them out online at HighlandIG.com. They're right here in Baton Rouge, can help you out statewide in the state of Louisiana. It's the Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
All right, closing up hour number one here, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. The leak has been made public that Live Golf is going to do an event in New Orleans June 26th through the 28th next summer. Jeff Duncan's got a column up at NOLA.com, The Advocate, that hits all the high notes, and he nails it. And I'll kind of echo what Jeff said in his piece, and I'll just use my perspective on it. Y'all know I hate Live. I hate Live not because the players are greedy and took the money. I hate Live because it split one of my favorite golf sports in half. And if you split the NFL in half, that would suck. And if you split the NBA in half, that would suck. And if you split college football in half, that would suck. And the fact that they split golf in half sucks to me. I hate it. I don't watch it. I don't pay attention to it. I hope it folds in the next 5 minutes. I hate it. I want everyone back in the same place playing together on the PGA Tour. And that's my perspective on it, and that clearly warps and frames my viewing of New Orleans hosting a Live event. I don't get it. I don't know why this is a fit for either place. One, they're playing at Bayou Oaks City Park, which is a fine place for me to go pay $50 and go play a Saturday round of golf. It's a joke of a championship test of golf. It's a municipal course in New Orleans for hackers like me and Beck. Is not for Bryson DeChambeau. The trees aren't mature. That you can hit it anywhere you want. It's a joke for a professional golf course tournament to be played there. It's a joke. And I don't understand it financially. As Jeff Duncan writes, the city is going to spend $2 million to improve the driving range facility, which is completely unfit for championship golf. And that's a good thing for the city to spend that $2 million on the driving range improvements, but then they have to pay $5 million to Live for a hosting fee. And as Duncan writes, like, they are hoping to get a $60 million economic boom from this? Huh? The Zurich 2 years ago when Rory McIlroy won generated $60 million. Nobody watches this. They draw 100,000 viewers per day when they're in Dallas or Nashville. They draw 40,000 fans. The Zurich triples that. And the Zurich is in April. This is in late June. Have you been outside in late June here? It's 103 degrees and it rains every day. So I don't get that either. This to me, and this is what Jeff Duncan writes, and I don't really care about any of this stuff, but it feels like to me, Donald Trump's been very involved in Live. He's hosted a lot of events. Jeff Landry, obviously, is a big proponent of Donald Trump's, and it feels like that's the connection to Live playing in New Orleans. Because New Orleans does not have the weather for it in the summer. They don't have the golf course for it. It's not going to help New Orleans economically. I don't get any of this. The Zurich has a long-standing relationship with New Orleans and the PGA Tour. They donate millions of dollars annually to charity. It's a phenomenal event. It's run exceptionally well. It's got a great standing in the community, and it makes sense for a ton of reasons. This makes sense for none reasons. It makes me ill that they're coming here, but it is what it is. I texted my buddies. They're all going. They're excited. They can't wait to go. You could not pay me a reasonable sum of money to go. You could pay me enough money to go. You could not pay me a reasonable amount of money to go. I hope it never comes back. I hope it's a failure, but it is what it is. That's my take on Live. Beck, you've listened to all that.
Yeah,
Will you go?
I don't think so. I mean, it's going to be the only reason, and I think this is probably why your buddies want to go, is you can go see some of these guys that are really good at golf, like Bryson DeChambeau and
Bryson
Jon
is going
Rahm
to shoot 58.
Yes, and so
I mean, they're going to tear that place apart like you've never seen.
Yeah, it's not going to be good golf because the course has no chance to stand up to these guys. But if you want to be able to go see some of these really amazing golfers, then it's a okay opportunity to do it. Of course, you can still go see some really good guys at the Zurich too, because people like to play that tournament. But this, I don't.
It's not making a lot of sense to me why this is happening unless you just connect the dots between Jeff Landry, Donald Trump, Liv.
Yeah, I don't.
That is about it.
I don't.
And again,
yeah.
I don't care about any of that stuff.
No, I don't either, and I don't think that it's going to make that much money. I mean, you're putting so much money. You're going to put so much money into this, and there's just no way that I can see $60 million. That's just crazy. That's ludicrous to say that you're going to make that much money from that tournament.
Yeah, economic impact. It's just not. I just don't see that at all. The Zurich with Rory winning 2 years ago did just south of that. So whatever. My takes on Liv are well documented, and so we'll leave that right there. And we come back, Pete Prisco, top 100 players in the NFL. How many Saints made the list? Manny Navarro talking LSU football. He wrote a profile on Brian Kelly's roster building. We'll do that 35 minutes from right now. We'll step aside for national headlines with SportsCenter, and then we'll come back with hour number 2 with a Monday edition Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. ESPN's Shams Charania reports an NBA trade today. It's a 3-team deal. The Heat get Norman Powell, who averaged a career-high 22 points a game. The Clippers get John Collins, who averaged 19 points and 8 rebounds. The Jazz get Kevin Love, Kyle Anderson, and a future second-round pick. The Washington Nationals promote bench coach Miguel Cairo to be the team's interim manager. Dave Martinez was fired along with GM Mike Rizzo on Sunday. The Kansas City Chiefs report to training camp 2 weeks from today after losing Super Bowl 59 against the Eagles. Safe to say Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes is motivated.
Whenever you lose, you kind of have this taste in your mouth that you want to go out there and revenge that or whatever you want to say. But at the same time, I feel like I've had to sit back and just listen to people talk. And I'm like, let's just play football and just handle it all out there. And I don't really want to talk about it. I just want to go out and show who we are as a Kansas City Chiefs.
Patrick Mahomes on Up and Adams from FanDuel TV. At Wimbledon today, American Ben Shelton and Novak Djokovic among those advancing to the quarterfinals.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, we asked friend of the show, Adam Schefter, what is the Giants' plan when it comes to rookie quarterback Jackson Dart when he joins the show at 8 a.m. Eastern. It's Unsportsmanlike. Weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. All your printing, scanning, copying needs. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and the folks at Gulf Coast Office Products, located here in Baton Rouge. Can help you out wherever you are in the state. They got locations throughout the state. All your printing, scanning, copying needs, Gulf Coast Office Products. All right, LSU's roster was put together a little bit differently this year. We'll talk about that at the bottom of the hour. Coming up with the Athletics' Manny Navarro. But I want to spend some time right now on Pete Prisco of CBS's list of the top 100 players in the National Football League. Does this annually, and it always generates a healthy amount of discussion and debate. And I tell you all the time, like, what do I do when you see a list like this? Well, I immediately go to the local angle. We talked in the first hour about looking at LSU from a recruiting perspective and looking at rivalry rankings, and both of those I'm like, all right, well, how is LSU affected? Well, in this instance, like, what do the Saints look like as far as top 100 players in the NFL? And I started going through, and I was like, okay, if I think about the roster before I look at the list, I would say you got a chance to get Kamara on there. He had a pretty heavy workload last year. I would say Eric McCoy has a reasonable chance to make that list. And then you start to run a little bit low after Demario Davis. Maybe Chase Young. These are kind of the names that I'm tossing around in my head. And ultimately, I put pen to paper and I said, I think the Saints will have two on the list. I think they will have Eric McCoy and Demario Davis. Like, those are the two I landed on. Because you keep in mind, Demario Davis had a career high in tackles last year. May not realize that, but he did. Some say you turn on the tape, like he's not quite the player that he once was, doesn't get after the quarterback quite like he once did, but still productive, making plays. And then McCoy, I think, is, one of the top 3 or 4 centers in the NFL. So those are the two that I kind of settled on. And then I went in and looked. Maybe Chase Young finds his way on there. I don't think Carl Granderson backed up his good year last year. So let's look. and you start scrolling through 100, 90, 80, 70, 60. By the time you roll around to 30, I'm thinking, I don't think that anybody on the Saints is going to make this list in the 30s or the 20s. And they didn't. Pete Prisco, top 100 players in the National Football League, the Saints are not represented. And does that really matter in the grand scheme? No. Is it a reflection of where this roster has fallen to? I think so. I think when you start to look at all of the outside observers who were sitting back like us, not looking at Mickey Loomis, not talking about what Kellen Moore thinks or what Doug Nussmeier thinks, not what Cam Jordan's goals are for the season, like just looking back at us, whether it's Joe Fan, Pete Prisco, Hunt Palmer, or the sports book out in Vegas. And you start to look at this and you see the Saints win-loss total hovering around 5.5. And you see Pete Prisco put together a list and say there's not a single player on this roster that's in the top 100 players in the league. There's so much smoke, the fire's got to be there. Like that, it just is what it is. The roster right now is at a spot that is as bad as any in the NFL. And that can dampen the way you feel about what's coming over the next 7 months. Because, to be really honest, meaningful football is probably not in the near future for the Saints. But if some of these guys can take leaps early in their career and become the pillars of the next really good Saints team as the old pillars move out, because none of them are valued here in the best 100 players in the year. I mean, you're talking about guys that have made this list before. Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, Ryan Ramczyk, Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, Tyrann Mathieu, Chase Young. There are guys on this roster that have made this list, but they don't make it anymore. So that's the reality of the situation for these Saints. And it's sobering. Like, you want to get so jazzed up. And look, I'm not suggesting that Saints fans aren't jazzed up. They sold out minicamp last month. It was 100 degrees, and the Who Dat Nation packed the joint to watch these guys practice. So the support is always going to be there. The passion is always going to be there. I just don't get the sense that the expectation is quite there. And with that, the anticipation is not. That first Sunday, sure. You get up, you put the jersey on, you get the food out, you get ready to roll, and you're excited to watch Tyler Shough with the hope and the anticipation that he's the next guy. But I think in the back of every Saints fan's mind, and certainly those of us that cover the team, you're also looking at it from this perspective and going, what can we even expect from this? You're paying the piper now for that run of greatness that we saw. And I think the way the Saints operated during that greatness was appropriate. I thought they did a good job. They had, over the course of that 15 years, they had 4 or 5 teams that could have gotten all the way. They really did. And when you've got that opportunity, you've got to try to capitalize, because you know that this part of the process is always lurking around the corner. Very few organizations fight off this spot. The Steelers have done it. The Packers have done it. The Ravens have done it. But just about everybody else gets into a spin cycle. And the Chiefs are at the zenith of what they are going to be, but you never thought the Patriots were going to lose again, and they stink now. And the Chiefs will stink soon. It's just part of the deal. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes won't be there forever, just like Drew Brees and Sean Payton weren't here forever. And the result after that crowning era usually looks something like this. And I was a little bit surprised. I'll be honest. I was a little bit surprised to look up and see not a single one of the Saints listed. I mean, you look at some of the guys toward the end of this list, Jalen Ramsey, who's probably just off his prime. Tyler Smith from the Cowboys offensive tackle. Travis Kelce at 96. Derwin James. Ladd McConkey. Jordan Love. Devontae Adams. Like, these are the guys at the back end of that list. And to suggest the Saints don't have anybody on the roster that can be in that conversation is a bummer. It really is. But hopefully, as you move forward, next year, maybe Olave makes the list. Maybe you talking about Taliesin Fuanga on the list. Maybe Eric Coy does make the list next year. Maybe Kool-Aid McKinstry becomes that dude. It's possible. You've got some young players with some upside, but you've got to see it on the field. And to this point, most people don't feel comfortable with what they've seen from a lot of the guys on the Saints roster. So, look, that's Pete Prisco's opinion. Not necessarily the correct answer, but it is, to me, telling of where the Saints are at this point. All right, if you're looking for Saints coverage, you can certainly find it at LouisianaSports.net, where Ross Jackson's coming up with original content every single day. My stuff's up at Hunt on Saints, wherever you find your podcast, or on YouTube. Check that out as we get really, really close to the Saints reporting the training camp here within the next couple of weeks. We'll be talking about actual football practices that are going on with an intent to go play a game. We're getting closer, and we'll be at SEC Media Days next week on the college side of things as we inch towards the fall. But I'm not ready to completely slam the door on summer just yet. I kind of like summer. Had a good weekend. Let's talk some more football, including this list, because while the Saints got shut out of this list, LSU did not get shut out of this list in a big way. We'll talk about that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is that website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Safety, safety, safety. Every single model. All of them on the Genesis line. IHA top safety pick. All of them. Some of them top safety picks plus. Get on by and see them. Like, you'll feel the warmth of the staff. You'll feel like a guest, not a customer. You'll get behind the wheel and feel the comfort and how smooth the drive is of these vehicles. And then when I tell you that safety rating applies, like, you realize it's the entire package. Every single new purchase comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty and 3 years of complimentary valet maintenance. It's all there at Genesis of Baton Rouge, GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
All right, we just talked about the top 100 players in the NFL. And after I went through it from a Saints perspective, I was like, all right, well, let's look at the LSU players. Started thinking about, well, I think Justin Jefferson will probably make it. Burrow, Chase, yeah, probably so. And then I started thinking about some others. Jaden Daniels probably in that mix now. And I thought Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas had a pretty good go of it there. There's probably a pretty good number of LSU players on that list. So started scrolling through. Well, there's good reason why the 2019 team was pretty good. They had the number 5 player in the NFL, that's Justin Jefferson. The number 7 player in the NFL, that's Joe Burrow. The number 8 player in the NFL, that's Jamar Chase. And the number 23 player in the NFL, that's Derek Stingley Jr. So 3 of the top 8 and 4 of the top 23 were on one college football team. That's pretty good. But that wasn't it for LSU. Represented a number of different places. You had Jaden Daniels, number 33 on the list. His 2 wide receivers from 2023 bunched together on the list. Brian Thomas, 44. Malik Neighbors, 45. And then you've got Danielle Hunter at number 47. So of the top 50 players in the NFL currently, LSU has 8. Put more succinctly, of the top 47 players in the NFL, according to Pete Prisco, LSU has 8. 8 of the top 47. That is remarkable. And these are the kind of things that I point to when I'm talking about the 2019 team and its greatness at the next level. Because to have Jefferson, Chase, and Burrow at 5, 8, and 7 respectively is a loud statement. And then to have a defensive player mentioned in the top 25 like Stingley was, and he was that good as a freshman. It wasn't like he had some meteoric rise from his freshman year through. In fact, he played his best football at LSU as a freshman. So to have those 4 as starters on that team and what they've ascended to, and Stingley was on the list last year at 80. He moved up to 23 this year. For the 2019 offensive guys, Jets moved from 7 to 5, Burrow from 15 to 7, and Chase from 13 up to 8. So all moving in the right direction from that team. And that just lends itself to how great that team was. But also, it makes you shake your head, as we've done for 2 years around here, at having an offense that had Jaden Daniels, number 33, Brian Thomas, 44, and Malik Neighbors, 45. 3 of the top 45 players in the league on one offense, putting up ridiculous numbers, and you couldn't get out of your own way on defense. Would have been nice to have Danielle Hunter and Derek Stingley on that defense. You didn't. And all these guys come from such different backgrounds, right? Like Justin Jefferson, 2, 3-star recruit, 5th-ranked player. Joe Burrow, 4-star recruit, got beat out at Ohio State, had to transfer. Jamar Chase, 5-star, but from Louisiana, blossomed into what he could be. Derek Stingley kind of took that path, 5-star, from Louisiana, blossomed into what he could be. But like Jaden Daniels, 4-star recruit, transferred, exploded. Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors have very similar stories. 4-star recruits from South Louisiana, picked LSU. Not hugely impactful their first year, as you would expect. And then just over time became superstars through gradual improvement in the program. You've got Daniil Hunter, who was a 4-star recruit, and we talked about him every August, like you're well aware. They sent us out there. What do you see at practice? Well, they got this guy, defensive end, that looks like he plays for the Vikings. Got the purple and gold on, and then eventually he did play for the Vikings. And he got a lot of sacks. And Daniil Hunter at this point is on a Hall of Fame type trajectory. And I think it's reasonable to look at that list I just laid out and make a compelling Hall of Fame case for 4 or 5 players. It's too early now. They've got to keep playing. But Justin Jefferson's on the way. Joe Burrow's on the way. And if he and Jamar Chase can go get a Super Bowl and keep throwing for a bajillion yards, they're on the same trajectory. I'm not going to put Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors, and Jaden Daniels in the Hall of Fame today. That's probably a little bit premature. They played one season. It was a good season. Jaden Daniels took the league by storm, got to the NFC Championship game. Brian Thomas set some rookie records. Malik Neighbors set some Giants records. And he didn't have anybody to throw in the ball. So it's been remarkable to watch the talent roll through this program. And the more things like this happen, where you see LSU littering a professional football list, the better it is for recruiting. It all goes back into that brand. And I know that NIL is going to carry the biggest weight in this deal, and how well LSU keeps up from that perspective will be the most important thing, but it is not the only thing. And if you've got guys representing your brand, your program, setting records, showing up on all pro teams, making a case for the Hall of Fame and the best players playing on Sundays, like it's a big, big feather in LSU's cap to have these types of dudes. I was hopeful maybe like Patrick Clean or Lloyd Cushenberry popped up there and made the list. Maybe Damian Lewis. It's a tough list to make. Top 100 is pretty good. But LSU didn't have any trouble putting guys on it. 8 of the top 47 players in the National Football League hail from LSU. I did not go through and count that every single school, but it's a pretty impressive statement for the LSU program to have put that kind of talent out there. I'll give you kind of some cliff notes on some of the other guys there. The top of the list, Mahomes, number 1, Myles Garrett, number 2. That's the same as last year. Saquon Barkley was not on the list last year. He was 3rd this year. He was the best player in the NFL, I think, this year. Incredible year. Josh Allen at 4, Justin Jefferson, as I mentioned, at 5, Lamar Jackson at 6 in front of Burrow and Chase. Pat Surtain, who LSU obviously recruited very hard, at number 9. He ended up at Alabama. And then Micah Parsons at number 10, rounding out the top 10. And you got guys like TJ Watt, Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, Derrick Henry still coming in at number 14, Aiden Hutchinson at 15, Creed Humphrey of the Chiefs at 16, Jalen Carter at 17, Chris Jones 18, Fred Warner 19, Tristan Wirfs, offensive tackle of the Bucs, there at number 20. So again, if you're looking at the local angles to these stories, the Saints shut out of the top 100. LSU gets 8 players in the top 47 of Pete Prisco's list. You can check that out at cbssports.com if you'd like to give it a look. All right, chugging right along here on a Monday. Our Monday show is brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. I tell you all the time about Gulf Coast. Like, you can work with the big box stores for your office supply needs. And they got everything you could possibly want, right? But if you call them, like, do you get a recorded line in Atlanta, voicemail in San Francisco? Like, do they even know you exist? Not sure. You can call on the mom and pop stop, sure, but they might not be able to help you because they don't have the resources. You get somebody on the phone, they'll know your name, but can they help you? Gulf Coast splits the difference beautifully. They're big enough to have the resources on hand. They got $1 million here in Lafayette. They've got in Baton Rouge. They've got an incredible team that can help service your machines if there is an issue. You'll have a wonderful relationship with your rep, whether it's Trey Beal or anybody else over there at Gulf Coast. So you get the best of both worlds when you work with Gulf Coast office products. All your printing, scanning, copying needs, no matter your vertical industry, whether you're in healthcare, education, law, accounting, media place like us, they help us out. They can help you out as well. It's Gulf Coast office products. Find them online at gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com. All right, so Manny Navarro from The Athletic has a piece up that he published last week. Tried to get to it last week, didn't quite have the chance to do it here, but he talked about the way that Brian Kelly put together this LSU roster. And obviously we understand it was done very, very differently than what teams have done in Brian Kelly's past, where it's been heavy on high school, just adding a couple here or there in the portal. And we heard Brian Kelly say, well, we're not going to buy players. Then realize, well, you got to go buy players. And he changed his philosophy. And I think he should get a lot of credit for that, and I think Manny agrees with that, but it's a very, very different model from what he has done over the course of his coaching career. So Manny dug deep into that, and we'll talk to him about that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
With bold leadership and a growing population, Louisiana is rewarding excellence, attracting high-value companies, and fueling opportunity. Louisiana is winning now, and the sky is the limit. With every region and industry growing across a beautiful state that's more than a culture, it's a community with a quality of life that's more than satisfying. It's sustainable because the Louisiana you thought you knew is better than ever now. Come home, Louisiana.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system. in the nation.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
Next week, we'll all descend on Atlanta, Georgia, SEC football media days from the College Football Hall of Fame. Very much looking forward to that. We'll do shows Monday through Thursday there from the ATL and then come on back either Thursday evening or Friday morning. I think Thursday evening is when we're planning on coming back. So looking forward to that week away. One more week here in Baton Rouge. Let's talk some football. Manny Navarro covers college football for The Athletic. Got a piece up on The Athletic right now. LSU won the transfer portal, but will it be enough to get the Tigers over the hump? Manny joins us right now on the Jim's Farms hotline to talk about it. Thanks for the time, Manny. How are you?
Doing good. How are you doing?
Doing quite well. Read your piece, very much enjoyed it. Invite Tiger fans to go check that out at The Athletic. I'm curious on your thoughts on Brian Kelly's kind of about face in terms of roster building in the quotes that you referenced in your piece.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you have to adapt in college football, and I think while LSU's been traditionally one of the best programs in the country year in and year out in terms of recruiting their own backyard in the southeastern part of the United States, the game has changed, and so much is about being able to retain your own players, number one, and B, being able to go into the portal and fill needs. And I think the way that he sort of expressed his disappointment over some of the recruits that they lost back in December, this is the way probably a lot of head coaches feel when they get beat out by other programs who have maybe bigger NIL budgets. So he's adapted well. I think he's ultimately done what needed to be done. Now he's got to go out there and actually win the games.
Do you think the Bryce Underwood recruitment was the last straw, or do you think that was the sole reason that he made these sweeping – because he had said previously we're not going to go buy players. I'm confident LSU didn't get all these transfer guys for free.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way he felt previously. But, again, the game has changed, right? And you're seeing how other people are able to win championships today. I mean, Michigan's payroll, has gone up obviously tremendously from the way they used to operate. Ohio State spent over $20 million last year to put that team together. So I think you're just adapting with the times ultimately and what needs to happen. And I think more than anything else, he probably said a lot of that to try to get the LSU community fired up and say, hey, we got to start putting some more money in to help out this collective.
So you've got a portion of this story that's sizing up LSU and goes into kind of the way the roster was put together. In doing that, what's your sense of what LSU is bringing to the table in 2025?
Yeah, it's a good team. I think they're a top 4 team in the SEC right now. I think the only teams on paper that I like a little bit more are Alabama, Georgia. Who am I forgetting?
Texas.
Texas, yes. How could I forget Texas? They're my national championship pick. I think those 3 teams are better on paper, but I think what he's got, you go out and you sign 11 Power 4 starters, guys that start at least 6 games at other places, and that counts for something in the portal. You can get that kind of experience, those guys that have been in the fire at upper level conferences. I think that usually translates well. I think 71% of the guys who made all conference teams last year that were transfers were guys that played for P4 schools prior to arriving wherever they went. So I think, that's going to count for something that's going to make that team better this year.
What's your confidence level in Garrett Nussmeier?
I like him when he doesn't turn the ball over. I think that's ultimately his biggest deal, right? Is can he protect the football in the big games? He can make big plays. He's got a good receiver room. I think the additions that LSU went out and made this offseason, Barry Brown, Nick Anderson, I think both of those guys with Aaron Anderson are going to be, pretty good trio. And I think Bauer Sharp was a good pickup in the portal after losing Mason Taylor. So he's got enough weapons around him. The running game, I think, should be better with some more options back there. Harlan Berry, I really like him a lot. I think he's going to be a freshman sensation. So I think they got a good team. It's a matter of can you protect the football when it matters.
Is this sustainable for LSU to go and spend this kind of money every year and overhaul with these Power 4 type transfers? Or is this an indication, okay, this is a year we felt like we needed to pounce, let's go?
I think they'll be willing to pay the bill if they make the playoffs every single year. If they're a contender, I think a lot of these schools would, especially the booster base, they'll be happy to spend the money if they can make sure that they're actually playing for something. When you don't make the college football playoff, you don't make the SEC championship game, and you're just another team, then no, they're not going to want to continue to pay that bill. They're going to pay to make sure the coach goes away and they make a change. So to me, I think as long as Brian Kelly gets to the playoff, he's going to be fine.
On defense, it's not something we've talked a ton about here, but I'm curious your thoughts on the additions that they made on the defensive side of the ball and whether or not they can shore that side up, because it's been, quite frankly, not nearly championship standard for the last 3 years.
Yeah, the last time I saw LSU in person was the opener against Florida State 2 years ago in Orlando. I'm based out of Miami, so I see a lot of the games played here in the state of Florida, but I did not recognize that LSU team on defense. I could not believe how bad they were in the secondary in that game, and I think obviously it's been a work in progress to get them back to the kind of level they used to be at, where they produced all-pro guys and first-round picks. I think the pickups that they made in the portal this year, Mansour Delaney, I watched him in the ACC, very good player, solid pickup. I think, Tamarcus Cooley at safety, he's going to be an effective guy that you can sort of move all over the field. But A.J. Halsey was the big one, and they beat out Miami in the spring to get A.J. I think he's going to be a difference maker, probably their best safety and a guy that makes a whole lot of plays for him.
Chatting with Manny Navarro from The Athletic. If we could deviate a little bit from LSU here and maybe talk big picture about some of the other teams in the SEC. I'm curious about quarterback at Georgia and at Alabama with Stockton and Simpson. You mentioned those two teams as teams that you think are in LSU's class or just a little bit above them. How do you feel about those two quarterbacks?
Yeah, those are great questions going into the season. I think when you look at the supporting casts around them, they have obviously good programs that have been built around them. It's a matter of can they step in. I mean, we won't know until the bullets start flying, but I think, Georgia and Alabama are two programs that have continually recruited at an extremely high level. They've added guys to the transfer portal, and so it's a matter of what happens when they actually get a chance to play. I think Stockton obviously had an opportunity to play some in the playoffs last year, stepped into the SEC championship game and helped Georgia beat Texas, so he deserves some credit for that. But both of those quarterbacks are in a situation where, to me, it's almost like just don't screw it up. Just hand the ball off, let your defense don't put your defense in bad situations with turnovers, and you should be able to win a lot of games.
Same thing for Arch Manning. How do you feel about him?
Yeah, I think Manning's much more of a playmaker than the other two. I mean, he's a gifted runner. He's a guy that can throw the football. I think he's a guy that projects potentially as a first-round pick. I think he is. That's why I picked Texas to win. I think he is a special player, and I think ultimately Texas has enough around him coming back. I know they went out in the portal and added some pieces, but they've had the number one recruiting class. They got top 5 recruiting classes the last few years. To me, Sark is as close as anybody. It's because of Arch to winning a national championship rather in the SEC.
Manny, we appreciate some time.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
He's Manny Navarro from The Athletic, just talking a little bit of SEC football. If you want to read more in detail about his piece with LSU, you can check it out on The Athletic website. I've got the app. It's great stuff, and this is going to be like the entirety of the talking point around LSU this coming week at SEC Media Days. When we get there, we're flying out on Sunday, and we'll, I'm sure, get the lay of the land on Sunday evening and then get to work in earnest on Monday. And it's just, I mean, we'll do a bunch of radio hits. I mean, Hester and Flynn and Matt will be more popular than I am on that circuit, but I'm confident I'll do 5 or 10, I'm sure. And the questions are going to be like, okay, is Nussmeier going to run a little bit and not turn it over? And can you get a defense that's built on the backs of a lot of transfers to come in and be significantly better than LSU's been the last 2 years? Like, can you do that? And I can absolutely make the case that they will. I can absolutely make the case that they won't. That's the discussion. Like, that's what this whole thing's going to be about. Like, is Jack Pyburn just a run stopper who can't get after the passer, therefore a limited player? Is this the Patrick Payton from 2 years ago when he was a terror? or this past year where he was kind of MIA? Can Tamarcus Cooley and Mansour Delane go from the ACC and star in the SEC, or are they closer to what Deuce Chestnut was? I don't know. Is DJ Pickett ready to play? I don't know. What are they going to do with Harold Perkins? I don't know. How's Jacoby and Guillory's Achilles? I don't know. Do you know for sure that Ahmad Bro and Don McKinley are close to all SEC players, or are they just another guy? I don't know. Like, there is, I don't know a lot. I could make you the case that all those guys are going to step up and be really good. I can clearly make it. And I can make you the case that they're not. And so it's going to make for a fascinating month of August as we talk through it. I mean, that's the zenith of talking season, right? August. When we dig into this with no wins and losses out there, just hypotheticals, just gut feelings, and it all just kind of spills out on Memorial Day weekend. And unfortunately, around here, 5 times in a row, that's been a disaster. So I'm just hoping upon hoping that I don't have to come back in here on Labor Day Monday when everybody else is off and trudge up to this desk and go, well, they lost their 6th one in a row. I'm hopeful I can go, hey, they got something figured out here. They really got something. Because, man, and this is, I'm going off on a tangent I didn't even anticipate going on, but let's just roll with it. Like, it is what it is. When I do the post-game show for that game and write my column for LouisianaSports.net, and then when I come in on Labor Day, which we work on Labor Day because they've just started the season, that show is either going to be broadcast to a group of people who want to fire the coach today or a group of people who thinks LSU is going to win the national championship. I don't think there is a possible way to see it any other way. Like, that's the way the fan base is going to feel. It's either going to be fire everyone or we're winning the Natty. You either lost 6 straight openers or you went on the road and beat a top 5 Clemson team. There just isn't a middle ground here. Like, I'll probably take one because I'm a little bit more measured than most fans I come across. But the vast, vast, vast majority of the people that follow LSU football are going to be just absolutely polarized on that Saturday night. That's what we're headed for. Those are the stakes in Clemson. Like, I know that they can still lose to Clemson and come out on the other end and make it. They can. But no one will feel that way after that game if they lose. Now, if they win, Katie bar the door. We'll be talking about LSU and Oregon in 2011 and that propelling LSU to one of the greatest seasons ever. And, like, that'll be the conversation. And that may happen. And I'm here for it. Love it. Be great. Great for YouTube clicks. Great for LouisianaSports.net clicks. Great for Twitter followers. Great for the whole thing. Great for us. Losses, not great. We'll see. It's fascinating, and we'll have a lot of football discussion coming up from Atlanta next week. All right, one more segment to go here on a Monday. We'll come back and close things out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Vaughn and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Doesn't have to be a huge, extensive renovation. Doesn't have to be. It can be something simple. Tub to shower conversion can totally change the look and feel, functionality of your bathroom. If you don't use your tub, it's old, it's dingy, or it doesn't work, don't just call the guy down the street. Call a company that's been doing this for 30 years. Call a company that's licensed and bonded and insured. Call a company that's got a master plumber. And get your work done properly. They're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. Tub to shower conversions, custom closets. They do vanities in the bathroom as well, flooring. They can do it all. Soup to nuts, as David says. Every single bit of it can be done with one phone call to one contractor. It's One Bath and Closets. Find them online, OneBathAndClosets.com, OneBathAndClosets.com.
At Luba Workers Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar, but instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
Parrish Construction and Roofing brings you live coverage of the 2025 SEC Football Media Days. Join our team next Monday, July 14th through Thursday, July 17th, as we take you inside college football's premier conference by hearing from the biggest names and newsmakers in the sport. 2025 SEC Football Media Days is also presented locally by Rev and Relief Windows. Watch our coverage on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel and read about it at louisianasports.net. It's the 2025 SEC Football Media Days, powered by Parrish Construction and Roofing.
I have not done an SEC Media Days since 2013. We talked about that last week. It's been 12 years.
We were usually the only people here for me during that week.
It did. I was still able to fill those shows pretty easily because whatever teams went, I just detailed them on the show, and that's 4 days. It's a great time. It's a good time. Next week is going to be very, very busy. The MLB draft is next week as well, which is going to be massively impactful here for LSU. The signing class that LSU has put together on the baseball side does not have a top 10 prospect in it. That's just a surefire MLB draft pick. But there are a lot of guys that could be drafted early enough to sign. So I'm going to continue to do some digging. I did a little bit of that over the weekend, and I'll have probably on Wednesday of this week a little bit more on the draft. LouisianaSports.net, I'll have some stories up, and I'll talk about it on the show. I don't want to do it too early because the draft's not until next week. But we'll get into a lot of college football talk next week, as well as the MLB draft, and then we'll come home and have kind of 1 week to settle in, and then the Saints are reporting, and LSU's a week away, and it's just off and running all the way through the fall. So excited to get to Atlanta starting on Sunday evening, and our shows will be there all week long from Monday to Thursday next week. One more order of business today. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
A lot of Flight by Yingling being taken down at the lake this weekend by the Palmer crew. 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, the next generation of light beer. They were cold, refreshing, delicious. If you're out at the lake, if you're out at the pool, you're mowing the grass, you're going to a tailgate party, you're just playing golf, whatever the case may be, outside, you're looking for a light beer. Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer.
Alrighty, first one here. Saya got snubbed. Take it or leave it.
I mean, I'll take it.
I'll
Guy's
take
got
it.
almost 80 RBI.
75.
The All-Star break. I think he's up to 77 now.
Maybe so, yeah.
He hit a home run last night. So, yeah, I mean, to lead the league in runs driven in is tough to be left off the All-Star team. He's been awesome. The Cubs offense has been awesome. I'm not going to lose a lot of sleep over it, but it is he probably should be on the All-Star team.
All right, next one here. We got Wimbledon going on, Hunt. I don't know if you've caught any of it.
I have.
Okay, well, we've got two Americans into the quarterfinals, Ben Shelton and Taylor Fritz, both really good young players in the sport right now. And Ben Shelton actually might catch a break here because the number one seed, Yannick Sinner, who has been pretty much him and Carlos Alcaraz, the two best players right now in the sport. Sinner is currently down the first two sets in his match with Grigor Dimitrov. So maybe catching a break there for Shelton, but one of the Americans will make the championship. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it. It's tough to do. Quarters is a good spot to be in. Of course, you can advance the semis later this week and make it happen on Sunday. But I doubt it. I don't trust American tennis players in Grand Slams, especially on the men's side. The women have been better than the men. The men have just been awful. My childhood, it was Agassi and Sampras and Roddick, and you always had an American that was in the thick of it, and I loved that. And while this was the golden era of tennis with Federer and Nadal and Djokovic, to not have an American just surface anywhere was tough for the sport here. So I'm scarred by that, and I will bet against them until I'm proven wrong.
All right, last one here. The NBA has been very interesting with the trades going on of late. And the latest one, which we knew was coming, but the Kevin Durant trade to the Rockets was the first 7-team trade in NBA history. You understand this. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it. I have no idea what happened anywhere. It looked like a video game. It looked like an 8-year-old
Even a video game
had scrambled the video game and done that. It's hard to imagine. Who was the 8th team that picked up the phone and they're like, hey, there's 7 of us here. We need you
to
come.
One more.
We got to make the money work. Can you jump in this 18? That's a lot. The NBA's roster building has jumped the shark for me. It was not like this 20 years ago.
No.
And I'm not saying better or worse. I'm just saying it's ridiculous. The amount of hoops that teams jump through and the amount of demands that players make and the amount of times elite players change franchises is crazy.
Yeah,
it's
and
crazy.
So here are the terms for this trade. So as I said, 7 teams being involved in this, 6 players, 1 first-round draft pick, and 12 second-round picks were also moved. In addition, the Rockets made a second-round pick swap with the Hawks and sent them cash consideration.
Make sure you swap that second round so you can stash that guy in the G League for a couple of years.
Gotta make the numbers work. Yes,
gotta make the numbers.
Those
second-round picks are worth less than this tiny notebook over
Probably
here.
So.
Just completely worthless. All right, that's it for Take It or Leave It. Brought to you by Flight by Yingling. Big 4th of July for you back over the weekend. How was it?
It was good.
How was your golf score?
Well, I didn't end up taking a score because we played a scramble because we were playing. I was playing with 3 other guys, my brother, and my cousin and my brother-in-law. And my brother-in-law has not played golf very much.
Okay.
So we were playing at Carter Plantation, which is a pretty tough course. So we weren't going to all try to keep our own score.
Okay.
And in trying to not be out there for 6 hours. We played a scramble.
You can be out there a long time in July.
Yes.
If you're hacking your own ball around the yard.
So we did a scramble. So the score was there was no score. We did lose the match. I played with my brother-in-law because he hasn't played a lot, and my brother and cousin are both a little bit more experienced. So I took him, and we pretty much were playing my ball for most of the round. So it was kind of me against 1 against 2, and we did make it to the last hole. It was all square going into the last hole, but we did have a bit of an issue on the second shot over the green. Couldn't find the ball, so it was tough.
That's not clutch play right there.
No, it wasn't.
Big time players, big time games.
Yeah.
You got to step up.
Did not step up to the plate there, but it was good though. It was very hot.
Yes.
There was one of the igloo water jugs on the holes was empty. Not a good look. And then also one of the holes was missing a water fountain. So we didn't get enough water. That was an issue.
Need Flight by Yingling.
Yes, we did have those. In fact, I sent you a photo of me drinking one.
I saw that.
And then after that, I needed some water, some actual just 100% H2O, and did not get it. So it was an issue.
Monday's show is brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products. We are going to get out of here if you missed any of the show today. Catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Tons of LSU football talk, including some recruiting at the top of the show. Manny Navarro from The Athletic talking LSU as well. We mentioned the Saints. Pete Prisco doesn't think any of the Saints are any good. We talked about that. Catch it all wherever you find your sound. Hunt on Saints and Hunt on LSU. I'm done. Matt's going to drive you home. He hadn't been here in a week and a half, so he'll be on with that for further review. We'll be here tomorrow, same time, same place, for a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play.